Welcome again this morning. We've got the privilege to present to you Christ's story through song and through word. And we just ask that you consider Jesus as we present this to you and really focus on his sacrifice for us, and let's worship him this morning.
Jesus touched many lives during his ministry on earth. The woman at the well, a man who was healed of his blindness, a leper who was cleansed, a grieving mother who was given back her son, and many others were changed forever. Hundreds, even thousands, had gathered around him at times to hear his teachings and to see the miracles he did. Even as he made his final journey into Jerusalem, thousands gathered along the pathway to welcome him. Many of them sang, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord." Reflecting on their experience with Jesus, some must have been thinking, "I've just been with Jesus, and I'll never be the same." What many didn't realize that day was that Jesus was entering Jerusalem not as a king, but as the sacrificial lamb. As he and his disciples settled in Jerusalem for the Passover meal, they prepared a place to eat together. As Jesus broke the bread, he said to them, "This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Likewise, as Jesus took the cup, he said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is shed for you." Jesus was ultimately telling them that he was the sacrifice for them. Although they didn't fully understand, they would see it lived out in front of their very eyes within a period of days. Jesus had already taught them about true love and sacrifice. He said to them, "Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends." Jesus was about to sacrifice himself once and for all to cover an eternity of man's sin. Oh, what have he has for all of us. Jesus was betrayed by one of his own disciples and arrested. He was beaten and brought before the Sanhedrin, who were the Jewish religious leaders of that time. They did not believe that Jesus is the Son of God. They asked Jesus, "Are you the Son of God?" Jesus said to them, "You rightly say that I am." They were infuriated by his claim, so they took him to Pilate, who was a Roman ruler over their region. Pilate ultimately could find no fault in Jesus. According to tradition, it was necessary for Pilate to release one prisoner during this time of Passover. So he pleaded with the crowd to allow him to chastise Jesus and release him to them. Pilate sent Jesus away to be scorned. Jesus was beaten unmercifully to the point that he was almost unrecognizable. Then Pilate brought him back before the crowd. To force the crowd to ask for Jesus to be released, Pilate offered them a chance between Jesus and Barabbas, who was a murderer. But the crowd yelled, "Give us Barabbas! Release Barabbas to us!" Pilate called out again, wishing to release Jesus, but the crowd yelled, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Even a third time Pilate asked, but the crowd was demanding that Jesus be crucified. In a display of ultimate grace, Jesus was stripped of ultimate disgrace. Jesus was stripped of his garments. To mock him, the Roman guards made a crown of thorns and forced it onto his head. Then they made a sign and nailed it to his cross that said, "This is the King of the Jews." When they made it to the hill called Calvary, the soldiers nailed him to the cross and crucified him. At about the 6th hour, after hours of torment and suffocation, Jesus said, "It is finished," and died. The earth quaked with great noise, and the veil in the temple was torn in two. Many mourned that day on the hill of Calvary. Even though the way Jesus died was a costly and terrible event, he did it willingly, as a lamb to the slaughter. You see, he knew we needed a blood sacrifice for the remission of our sins. That is the only way our sins would be forgiven. And his blood covers all of our sins if we trust him as Lord of our life. But that's not the end of the story. Jesus promised before he was crucified that after 3 days in the grave, he would rise to live again. The truth is, he did. He rose from the grave. Because of his resurrection, we have a promise of new life. He has promised to never leave us or forsake us. He intercedes for us daily as we live this life on earth. Now that you have heard what Jesus has done, you should ask yourself, do I accept what he has done for me? Many have accepted and made him Lord of their life. Who are you that you should deserve such a sacrifice? The answer is this: you are his creatures. He loves you more than you can ever know, and he wants to have a relationship with you just as a son or daughter. Won't you trust him today?
When I think of how he came so far from glory, came and dwelt among the lowly, such as I, to suffer pain and such disgrace. On Mount Calvary he took my place. So I asked myself this question: who am I? Who am I that a king would bleed and die for? Who am I that he would say, not my will, thine, Lord? Oh, the answer I may never know, why he ever loved me so. But to an old rugged cross he would go, for who am I? When I'm reminded of his words, I'll leave you never, and just be true, I give to you life forever and forever. I wonder what I could have done to deserve God's only Son to fight my battles until they're all won. For who am I? Who am I that
would bleed and die for. Who am I that he would pray, not my will, thine, Lord? Oh, the answer I may never know, why he ever loved me so, but to an old rugged cross he would go. For who am I? Who am I?
Thank you for letting us present this to you. We just ask that you consider Jesus as this goes on today, as we worship, and then through this week as we continue to celebrate what he's done. Thank you again this morning, choir. Thank you for singing so wonderfully this morning. And we'll be dismissed right now. And as soon as we get off the stage, you can have it, Brother John.